Okay, let's unpack a fundamental and, frankly, a life-changing skill. Learning to identify chords just by listening to them.
Hmm.
If you want a genuine shortcut to understanding the structure of any song you hear, this is it. This is the key.
Right. And that ability, so we call ear training or oral skills. And what's fantastic is if you're around, say, 13 years old, you're at the perfect time to develop this.
Why is that?
Well, your ears are just incredibly sharp at that age. They're really capable of picking up the subtle differences in tone that define the whole mood of a piece of music.
And that's really our mission today, isn't it? To break down how music uses just three notes to create these huge emotions.
Exactly. We're talking about the code that makes a song feel happy or sad or tense. And it all comes down to two basic sounds, major and minor.
Okay, so let's start with the happy one, the major sound. Most people hear major chords as bright, uh, stable.
Yeah, complete. It feels like a finished thought or a positive statement, like the hero just won.
So what's the anatomy of that sound? How is it built?
It's all about measurement. And the smallest measurement in music is the half step.
The half step.
Think of it like being 1 inch on a ruler. Or on a piano, it's just the very next key, black or white, the smallest possible jump.
Got it. So how many half steps in a major chord?
Okay, so a major chord has three notes, the root, the third, and the fifth. Starting from the root note, our home base, the next note up, the major third, is exactly 4 half steps away.
4 steps, and that creates the bright feeling.
That's the magic number. And the final note, the perfect fifth, is 7 half steps above the root.
So 4 and 7, that's the blueprint for every happy sounding chord ever.
It is. It's a universal language. That spacing is so stable, so perfect, that our ears just associate it with safety and happiness.
But this is where it gets really interesting. You take that stable, happy sound, and you change one tiny thing.
Just one. And the whole mood shifts.
And that brings us to the minor sound, which is, darker, more serious.
Oh yeah, it's the sound of mystery, of tension. Think about any film score right before a big reveal. You are hearing minor chords.
And the change is tiny. You said it's just the middle note.
That's right, the third. In a major chord, the third is 4 half steps up. In a minor chord, we lower it by just 1. So the minor third is only 3 half steps above the root.
Wow.
The fifth stays put at 7 half steps. But pulling that little note down from 4 to 3 instantly makes the chord sound contracted, somber.
So that's it. That's the first big challenge for ear training.
That is the milestone. Hearing the difference between that 4-step gap for major and the 3-step gap for minor, if you can hear that, you've cracked the emotional code of music.
But when I'm listening to a song, I can't be counting half steps in my head in real time. There has to be a shortcut, right?
That is an excellent question. And yes, there is. The math is the blueprint, but the shortcut is knowing the job of each note in the chord.
Okay, like listening for the ingredients instead of just tasting the whole cake.
Exactly. So let's break down the 3 jobs. First, you have the foundation, the root note.
The root, that's the one that gives the chord its name, like C major or G minor. It's the home base.
It's the gravity. And you find it by listening for the lowest note. It's often in the bass guitar or the left hand of the piano. It just feels like the most stable point.
So your first job is to tune out the melody and find that bottom note.
That's step 1. Then you focus on the most important one for the mood.
The third note, the emotional indicator.
Precisely. It sits in the middle. If that third sounds high and bright, it's 4 steps away. It's major.
And if it sounds lower, more somber.
It's 3 steps away. It's minor. Without that third note, a chord has no emotional quality at all.
That's a power chord, right? The kind you hear in rock music.
Exactly. A power chord is just the root and the fifth. It's heavy, it's strong, but it's emotionally neutral. It's missing that crucial third.
Okay, so that leaves the last ingredient, the fifth note. It's always 7 half steps up.
Yep. The fifth is the great stabilizer. It adds strength and clarity. We call it a perfect fifth because its interval, that 7-step distance, never changes between major and minor.
I always find that one the hardest to hear. Why is that?
Because it's so stable, it almost blends in with the root. It's like a harmonic echo. It just provides a frame to hold the root and third together.
So root is gravity, third is emotion, and fifth is stability.
You've got it.
But music, well, it rarely plays that neat and tidy. Chords aren't always stacked up with the root at the bottom.
No, they are not. And that brings us to chord inversions.
Inversions. Sounds complicated.
It's actually pretty simple. The notes are the same, but you just change which one is on the bottom. Think of it like stacking 3 blocks. Red, blue, green. You could put red on the bottom, or you could put blue on the bottom. The blocks are the same, but the stack looks and feels different.
So why do composers do that? To make it smoother.
That's the main reason. It lets the bass line move more smoothly from one chord to the next without making huge jumps. It sounds more connected, more sophisticated.
And what does that sound like? If the third is on the bottom, for instance.
That's called a first inversion. And it sounds a little restless, less stable.
Yeah.
It feels like it wants to move on to the next chord.
Okay. And then there's also the way the notes are played. Sometimes they're all hit at once.
A standard chord, yeah.
And sometimes they're played one after the other. An arpeggio.
An arpeggio or a broken chord. And this is actually a gift for anyone who's just starting out with ear training.
A gift. Why is it easier when the notes are broken up?
Because you have more time to process the sound. You can clearly hear the distance between each note. You're not hearing a big block of harmony. You're hearing a tiny melody made of the root, the third, and the fifth.
Ah, so you can really hear that jump from the root to the third and decide if it's the big happy jump or the smaller, sadder one.
With total clarity. It's a fantastic way to train your ear.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about some other tools to make this automatic. We can't be counting in our heads forever.
Well, one of the oldest and best tools is solfege.
The do, re, mi thing.
That's the one. It's a system that uses syllables to help you memorize the distances between notes. It creates a mental map of the sounds.
So how does that apply to major and minor chords?
It's simple. A major chord uses the syllables do, me, sol. That mi sound is your brain's shortcut for that bright 4/2 step interval.
Okay, do, mi, sol. What about minor?
You just change the middle note.
Yeah.
The minor chord is do, mi, sol. Hearing and singing that mi sound is a direct way to lock in the sound of the minor third.
That's a great tip. But knowing the chord is one thing. What about context? Chords are almost always in a sequence, a progression.
Exactly. And that context makes everything easier. Chord progressions are like musical stories. They follow predictable patterns. They move from stable to tense and then back home again.
Can you give us an example of a super common pattern to listen for?
Absolutely. The most common one in pop, rock, and folk music is the IIVV progression.
The 1-4-5.
That's it. It uses the first, fourth, and fifth chords of a scale. In the key of C, for example, that would be C major, F major, and G major.
And you hear that everywhere.
Everywhere. It goes from home bass to a little tension,
Right.
AV, to maximum tension V, which makes your ear just crave hearing that home bass chord again. Once you recognize that pattern, you're not even thinking about individual chords anymore. You're hearing a familiar musical sentence.
It's like learning common phrases in a language. You know what's coming next.
Your ear knows. It becomes instinct, not theory.
So to wrap this up, let's give some quick actionable practice tips. First, and this is huge, you have to do it every day.
Consistency is the secret. 5 focused minutes a day is so much better than 1 long session a week.
And practice in a quiet room. You need to hear the pure sound.
Right. Use a piano, a guitar, or one of the many free apps out there. And here's a pro tip. Record yourself playing the different chords.
Then listen back later and see if you can identify them.
Exactly. Test yourself. And remember, don't get discouraged. This is like developing a new sense. You're teaching your brain to label sounds.
And that daily effort is what connects what you hear to how it makes you feel. It just makes listening to music so much deeper.
It really does.
So focus on that one critical thing. The 4-step major sound versus the 3-step minor sound. Happy versus sad. If you can nail that, you'll soon be able to hear a song and know exactly how it's built.
And think about this. The most complex moving film scores, the most intricate jazz solos, they are all built from the exact same 3-note blocks we talked about today. Once you learn to hear these relationships, no piece of music can ever really hide its secrets from you again.
Good luck with your studies.